Welcome to Milwaukee. Inside Fiserv Forum tonight, the Marquette Golden Eagles, the giant killers this season. In the Big East host the 5th-ranked Wildcats. It's a Big East clash on FS1. With the former St. John's and UCLA coach, Steve Lavin, Kevin Fitzgerald with you. Yeah, for the Wildcats this year, things are A-OK. 5 straight wins. Highest ranking since the championship season a couple of years ago. The strength for both these teams lie in the backcourt, specifically with Villanova, Gillespie, and Moore.
Yeah, no surprise. Gillespie, a marksman from long range, shooting 42% from distance, and a coach on the floor for the Cats. Moore has improved all facets of his game, Kevin, and he is a budding Big East superstar.
I think these two are a budding scoring duo in the league. That's DJ Carton and Kobe McEwen introducing themselves to the league this year.
DJ Carton, an expert facilitator and shot maker, and McEwen in the midst of his best collegiate season on both ends of the floor.
He's scoring more than 15 points per game. These are the Jeep starting lineups. Of course, Carton, he was not with Marquette last year, to the transfer from Ohio State. So some newer pieces this year in the lineup for Marquette. That Villanova starting 5, they've been playing together for a couple of years now. The only new face is Caleb Daniels, the transfer from Tulane. Even he was here a season ago, sitting out.
Yeah, they had some losses early, but they've responded in strong fashion. 5 straight wins and dominating opponents of late.
It is worth noting, though, Marquette twice this year has defeated top 10 ranked opponents. Once here against Wisconsin, the other on the road against Creighton. The Golden Eagles looking for a bounce back after consecutive losses, welcoming the 5th-ranked Wildcats into Fiserv Forum. Away we go. Into the paint, immediately a touch for Theo John, who's been a nemesis of this Wildcats team, as Jay Wright alluded to this week with the first basket.
Yeah, and John so strong in the basket area, the ability to back down defenders and uses the window well.
Marquette has won and will continue to win in the paint this year, as head coach Steve Wojciechowski likes. That first 3 effective. Good contest on the shot attempt. And the first 3 is off the mark for Villanova. This is McEwen, who you just spotlight. Number 25 in the bright yellow today for Marquette. Always with the flashy and bright uniform combination. DJ Carton, that's good.
Well, that's what he does. Maneuvers well off the bounce, gets to the mid-range, can play make, and shot make with the best of them.
A good distributor, but you're right. He is under the reputation as an attacking scorer this year with Marquette. Meanwhile, Collin Gillespie, he's the unflappable leader for the Wildcats, number 2 in the Navy. Down low to Jeremiah Robinson-Earl, and Casey Jacobson was telling you he's got some pro potential. A good game.
Yeah, now we see the 3-quarter court Villanova pressure defense. They'll give you different looks throughout.
Offensive foul, and it was Gillespie who took that big, wide right shoulder of Theo John.
Yeah, Gillespie alert in getting back and took that right on the chest, in the sternum. Textbook technique in terms of drawing the foul. Take one more look outside that arc, and once John lowers that shoulder, it's an easy call for the official.
Oh, that is not the man you want to take the right hook from. The big, strong 5-man for Marquette, Theo John. This is Robinson-Earl. Spins on Carton and kicks. Gillespie, a deep 3, and that one is through.
Yeah, if he gets any daylight, Gillespie will tickle the twine from all angles. In rhythm there. Again, 3-quarter court, you'll see Villanova stunt at the ball. It's not a pressure defense that's trying to trap or force turnovers. McEwen picking up where he's left off from game to game. So comfortable. As we take a look at Jay Wright on the sidelines. Good mask mechanics here early.
Congratulations to Jay. Last week picked up his 600th career win. 479 of those at Villanova. It's astonishing. You almost do a double take when you realize, yeah, he's been in Villanova for 20 years now.
And nominated this week for the Naismith Hall of Fame.
His Wildcats have won 5 straight, 7-1. And that number 5 ranking, the highest since the championship season a couple of years ago. Villanova ties it. Caleb Daniels running. McEwen buries the 3.
Well, that's the one trade-off with full court pressure. It's more difficult to stay attached to shooters. McEwen makes Villanova pay for that 3-quarter court pressure.
Kobe McEwen picking up right where he left off, scored 20 against Xavier. The offense wasn't the problem in Marquette's latest outing. Scored 88 on the road, but lost. They gave up 91. Offensive rebound to the big man Eric Dixon, who just checked in. And a putback has Villanova back within 1.
You got to check these cats on the board, or it could be a long night for opponents.
McEwen, long 2. And a rebound to Samuels. Marquette has those 2 huge wins in the early goings of the season, but it's lost 3 of 4. It's been a monster of a month of December for the Golden Eagles. Jamal Cain's first look is through. Not only the Big East games seeping into the December schedule this year, but games against Wisconsin, had to go out to Los Angeles and face UCLA.
And that's how you improve. You come back from playing tough games on the road, playing good competition, informs the staff in terms of vulnerabilities, areas that need to be sharpened or improved upon.
Justin Moore offline, and the rebound to Cain.
Where Carton, with his size, can see over the top, hits the hole well, as we see on that penetration, and setting up Cain for an open look just doesn't go down.
That drive and kick, and Cain was open. He started to hit that shot, the 3, a bit better this year. The senior from Pontiac, Michigan. There's Moore, uncontested layup right at the 10.
Yeah, and Moore with the change of pace, the hesitation, dribble, and the ability to accelerate and blow by and finish at the rim.
Excellent start. These 2 teams are a combined 10 of 16 from the field. And we've seen some contested looks as well. It's solid shot making early on. There's a freshman, Dawson Garcia. As advertised, the McDonald's All-American, scoring about 13 points a game.
Yeah, 6'11". Another example of a player who can see over the top to both pass, play make, as well as shoot the ball from distance.
Marquette hitting everything from deep to start.
Well, the extra pass as Cain dials one up from distance. Carton maneuvering off that high screen, the shiftiness, and facilitates to Garcia. Bottoms. Timeout.
Been a place recently where Villanova fans have gone, not this place again. When Villanova visited a few years ago, Marquette took them down as the top-ranked team in the nation. It has won the last 2 meetings against Villanova in consecutive years. Most recently last January, when Marcus Howard went off for nearly 30. It was a big win at home against a ranked Villanova team. And, Coach, you can see, against the Wildcats here in Milwaukee, they fared much better than in Villanova and Philly.
And in the best conferences in the country, year to year, winning on the road is difficult. And the Big East, no exception. And it just speaks to the quality and the depth of the Big East Conference. Not a surprise. Villanova's 2 national championships under Jay Wright, an example of how tough this conference is.
Now, the last couple years, Steve Wojciechowski has relied on the play of Marcus Howard. This year, the attack is a bit more spread for the 44-year-old from Severna Park, Maryland. If you pull up some of his clips from when he played at Duke, defense, he was elite, and he's asking his team for a bit better defensive effort today than this past week.
Yeah, and Marquette is dramatically improved. They are more balanced, regardless of their record, and challenging themselves by playing a good schedule. There's Gillespie out of the timeout, tickling the nylon from distance.
That is so smooth, his second 3.
Yeah, playing with more confidence this year, and he was outstanding last season as well. But he now clearly is quarterbacking this team, the extension of Coach Wright on the floor. It's the equivalent of having a coach on the court.
Yeah, bona fide All-American candidate this year. Here's the freshman from Maryland. Justin Lewis nearly had an and one. He's going to the line. A touch right after he checks into the game.
Yeah, and both these teams bring that NBA flavor. They will seek out matchup advantages and clear out, as Marquette did there, to get Lewis the ball down low. And that's good coaching, deploying your personnel in a manner to take advantage of their particular skill set and expose those matchup vulnerabilities that your opponent may have.
I think you're right. Both of these head coaches, the reputation of tacticians, if you will. Wojciechowski's been at Marquette for 7 years. Jay Wright for 20. Villanova. Although a rare empty trip to the free throw line for Marquette. One of the better free throw shooting teams in the nation. This is Gillespie. He's starting to heat up early, and that's his third three.
Yeah, Justin Moore there, probing, investigating off the dribble, draws attention with his penetration. And Villanova nicely setting up Gillespie. Why not go back to the hot hand?
Kobe McEwen uses the John screen, got a little separation, and lost it. And that's Villanova basketball.
Alert and aggressive defensively and offensively, sharing the ball, the quick ball movement, the hockey assist from Moore, and Gillespie in rhythm.
Better than 40% from three this year. Already 3 of 4 from deep, so I'm with you. Find him again right here.
And
he's got it.
Nova will do that.
This Villanova offense so efficient. Jeremiah Robinson-Earl, a big reason why. He's their leading scorer. Felt the pressure at the rim that time. Back-to-back turnovers.
Yeah, Torrance didn't have the angle on that attempted post-entry. And passing and catching, simple as it may seem, often is difficult when you're going against a good pressure defensive team like Villanova.
That's a statistic you don't want to find yourself on the wrong side of against Villanova. That's the turnover battle. Villanova, it's like a blue moon when they do turn the ball over. And meanwhile, Marquette has given it away 3 times.
Well, Villanova #1 in the country in terms of ball security. And that means more shots on the rim, not turn the ball over. Also sets your defense because there's less runouts. When you take good shots, you get to the foul line and you don't turn it over.
Well, that's kind of business as usual for Villanova in recent years. Gillespie left that jumper a bit short. So Marquette trying to retake a lead. Sitting at 5-4, it's lost consecutive games. It's been a bear of the month of December. Trying to close it out with another top 10 win. Lewis. Oh, Cain bailed him out.
Well, a good look by Lewis. Never in a rush or a hurry. He had the matchup advantage against Gillespie, backed him down, but found Cain on the interior for a high percentage look. And that's what's interesting about Lewis. He's capable of scoring, but he enjoys the thrill of the pass. He takes pride in his passing.
A freshman that doesn't look like a freshman. Cain, by the way, with 8 quick points. Gillespie, another. Rebound down to Cain.
Cain skying up for that one. That was a good contest by Lewis on that last Gillespie jumper, using his length to take away airspace.
Lewis looking for Garcia. The lefty goes up with the right.
A nice draw through. You work on that in post perimeter breakdown. Big men, footwork and finish, a soft touch. And guess what? Justin Lewis with the high-low look again, sharing the ball.
He's got consecutive assists. Caleb Daniels has been a revelation from deep this year. The Tulane transfer misfires on his first try from beyond the arc.
Lewis gobbling up the rebound. He's got Gillespie down low. And you'll see Villanova switch, try and disrupt, give different looks. Good help side defense by the Cats.
It was Daniels. Gillespie attacking. Head fake. And he's got 2 free throws. The heady senior gets the whistle. Marquette, though, with the three-point edge.
Well, Cain feeling it on the interior, using that length to finish at the rim, and Garcia with the back down, shows the ball, rips it through. Timeout.
Big East basketball sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. Jeep, there's only one. Marquette trying to knock off a third top 10 ranked opponent this season with a 3-point lead. The very prophetic Steve Lavin just alluded to this before our latest timeout. Ball security, Villanova, the fewest turnovers per game. It's just, this program's a model for discipline and consistency.
Yeah, they've had outstanding guards, but they also develop their players, not only backcourt but front court players as well. And basketball's a game of habits, and Villanova passes and catches as well as any team in the country. They work to create a lead, passing away from the defense, all these small subtleties, and they value the possession of the ball. That means they get more shots on the rim, because when you don't turn it over, you don't have empty possessions. They jump stop, they jump to meet passes. They're strong with the ball in terms of keeping it on the chest, under the chin, with the elbows out, whether it's bigs or the guards in the operational area. It's just an exceptional team when it comes to fundamentals year after year. Villanova delivers that consistent performance.
And Jay Wright says it subtly, right, from time to time. The Villanova system, it's real.
When you think of the great guards, you know, back to Randy Foy, Ryan Arcidiacono, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson,
Kyle Lowry.
And now look at their backcourt here. That's the equivalent of a quarterback. And they have multiple quarterbacks on the floor. It's like quarterbacks who don't throw interceptions. You've got an edge in the NFL if you have the Joe Montanas and Tom Brady's, and it's no surprise Villanova's had their consistent success with outstanding guard play.
We're saying they've got many Patrick Mahomes on the roster. After Gillespie's 2 free throws, he checks out with 11. So Justin Moore probably plays a little more point when Gillespie's off the floor. That's number 5 in the Navy.
We really saw Justin Moore blossom in the later stages of last season for Villanova. Became more aggressive. They played through him late clock, late game situations, and so his confidence is ebbing and flowing.
Coach, that's the 5th Marquette turnover. Dixon trying to go to work part, the freshman. Daniels, the sea parted for him, and he lays it in.
Yeah, poor defense by Marquette there. Not only on the ball in terms of dribble containment, but they rotated. Matter of fact, there was no rotation. Straight line drive and layup.
Since the loss to Virginia Tech, that was an overtime loss up in Bubbleville in Connecticut for Villanova. Wildcats have won 5 in a row, the last 3 by double digits. The AP ranking is the highest since the championship season. You know that emoji, the A-OK, thumb and index finger? Things are A-OK right now for the Wildcats.
Caleb Daniels, impressive here, continuing to show his offensive prowess. Stout, low center of gravity, whether it's taking it to the hoop or organizing his feet there and getting good lift with those legs on the jump shot.
7 points for Daniels. Cain now into double figures. The only average is 9.5. A game is 11.
Yeah, silky smooth, and again, using that length to get to a kill spot, the mid-range stop and pop game. 6'7".
2-point lead for Villanova. Dribble drive, and Moore is fouled.
Yeah, Villanova relentless. You know, they size up defenders. They attack off the bounce well, and then make good judgments or reads once they do hit that hole in terms of when to jump stop and pocket pass to fan it back out to an open player on the perimeter, or keep it yourself to finish or get fouled, as we saw in that possession with Moore.
Checking in for the Wildcats, number 2, Collin Gillespie, number 10, Nicole Schreiber. Returning for Marquette, number 2, Justin.
It really is remarkable. We see the players come and go. The names change on those jerseys, but the results are the same, and that's a system that fits the personnel Villanova recruits. There's a marriage of talent and system or style of play that's as good as any in the country right now in college basketball over the past decade. Hard to argue the results.
The expectation's always high. This year's group, the bar is even higher. Can they win it all? This is Carton back into the paint. Was that a shot, or was it a ball that went flying out of his hands actually hits the rim? And Garcia gets the foul on the offensive rebound.
Now Caleb Daniels, the transfer from Tulane, acclimating very quickly here with the Cats. Sizes it up. Why not? Timeout.
It's been a fun start to this one. Both teams shooting better than 50% from the field. These two in recent years have kind of gone punch, counter punch. Last two seasons in this season series, I should say, the matchups have been split. Couple wins for Marquette, couple wins for Villanova, while the Wildcats overall throughout the history of the series have kind of dominated in lopsided fashion. We've seen some exciting matchups between these two, in particular the last couple years, and in Milwaukee specifically.
Well, and it's interesting this season because teams' home courts are not the foxholes, the hornet's nest of years past because of COVID and all the precautionary guidelines, understandably, to protect people's health. So Marquette, when they've got their house packed, is as tough a Big East venue as there is in the conference, but not the case this year.
It was a wild scene last January when Marquette knocked off number 10 inside this building. Marcus Howard went off. You're right. You talk about some of the most passionate fan bases across the country. On that list are the fans here at Marquette in Milwaukee.
Well, and they've had outstanding tradition and heritage. Obviously, Al McGuire with the national championship in '77, a Final Four in 1974, and really his last 11 years at Marquette, the numbers were off the hinges in terms of winning percentage and bringing home the hardware to Marquette. But Rick Majerus coached here as well, Tom Crean, Buzz Williams, Hank Raymonds, just tremendous tradition. Mike Dean, and their fans know basketball and appreciate good basketball. It's the same with the Milwaukee Bucks. Their fans are outstanding as well.
Sixth Marquette turnover.
Well, and right now, Villanova with a 7-0 edge in points off of Marquette's turnovers. And that's really the difference or the edge at this point in the game.
Villanova shooting 50% from the field. Swider gives to Jermaine Samuels.
I'll see if Marquette looks to probe the inside. Get one of the bigs a touch.
Instead, McEwen, and he may have 3 free throws coming. Yes, he nods his head.
And McEwen sold that well. Just on first look, we'll get a chance to see the replay here. A good diagonal pass by DJ Carton. Closeout. Well, protecting the shooter. And Justin Moore there with a good closeout. Probably feels it was a phantom call, invisible man.
And nicely sorted out by the officials, because that was clearly after the shooting motion. So it won't be 3 free throws. And it's just a common foul on Villanova. That's the team's 4th. You mentioned this. Carton, he may probe the lane. He does here. Nice runner. What else does Marquette have to do offensively to hang with Villanova?
Well, right there, that's a sound approach. Under control, maneuvering off the dribble. There's the shiftiness of DJ Carton. And there's freedom within structure. And that's what both these teams do well. Villanova's been able to do it for a longer period of time over the years and been able to win championships with that approach. But ideally, you want to put your players in a position where they have the freedom, the confidence to play aggressive, but still understand purposeful basketball, playing as a team, and doing it within the structure of your overall approach.
Foul on Marquette, but the prior possession, here's Carton, the attacking guard, getting into the lane.
Yeah, he has a gift. I call it almost a lullaby. Hypnotizes defenders, puts them to sleep a little bit with that rockabye baby, and then a quick first step or accelerates off that dribble and then makes great reads or judgments. If the help comes, he gives it up. If not, he has the ability to stop and pop.
The sophomore from Bettendorf, Iowa, joined Marquette after transferring from Ohio State. 4 points and 3 assists in the early goings of this game. Villanova has got a little cold the last few minutes shooting, and there's the first turnover of the game for the Wildcats.
You know, the ball stuck on one side of the floor, didn't get reversed. Not the hot potato we're accustomed to seeing in terms of Villanova's passing ability. Good defense there by Carton. He was able to slide the feet, give up ground, contest, smother, and force the turnover. What's interesting about Carton, Kevin, is he doesn't have blinding speed. It's the maneuverability, the shiftiness, the tight handles, the excellent footwork that allows him to separate from defenders.
Swider got the 3 blocked.
What a closeout. High hands, fully extended. That's textbook.
And it's Marquette, the aggressor right now, although still down by 1. Shooting 56% from the field, 4 of 7 from deep. Justin Lewis keeps the dribble, double. Out to Garcia, spots up, no. Greg Elliott. And a new 20 seconds for Marquette. Now Lewis fires. Empty possession.
Yeah, not the look that Marquette would prefer.
Moore for 3.
Yeah, they find the open man. That willing passing is a key ingredient to why they get good looks. It's not just taking lots of threes. It's the quality of the three-point looks that Villanova gets consistently that separates them from opponents.
10 threes a game for the Wildcats. How about Jamal Cain with the poise underneath? The catch, the collect. This isn't off the window.
Yeah, we mentioned it. 6'7". Steve Wojciechowski can deploy him in different areas of the floor to take advantage of that skill set. Elbow catches from behind the 3, in the corners, and at the rim and the paint as well.
Robinson-Earl, another miss. He only has 2 points, 1 of 3 from the field. The star of the first half is Jamal Cain with 12 points for Marquette. Greg Elliott with the right hand finishes on the other side.
Yeah, Elliott, a game changer coming off the bench. Going way back in the day, as Jay Wright said, the microwave, which younger generations will have to Google that. But having a player, downtown Freddie Brown for the Seattle Supersonics, was a player that came off the bench in Gillespie. Any daylight. Look at the mechanics, the release, those middle 3 fingers, the follow through as well. And Villanova shoots the ball with confidence from the 3 because they have the green light from Jay Wright. But also if they miss, they know they can track down rebounds and get second shots. So no hesitation when the Wildcats lock and load.
That's now 4 triples for Gillespie. Garcia misfires. Yeah, you guys were talking about the microwave, Vinnie Johnson. You know, Elliott's from Detroit as well, by the way. Nice tie-in.
Yeah, a little bit of a Reggie Miller look as well in terms of his movement without the ball. And Marquette runs some nice sets to free him up. Steve Wojciechowski can get a timeout here. Probably feels his guys are a little gassed. Let him refuel. Elliott, aggressive. Seeking one, the reverse layup off the glass. Christmas comes early. Gillespie, right back at you. Timeout.
Coming up on the Jeep Grand Cherokee Halftime Report, we'll show you if Xavier and Rutgers can stay unbeaten. Illinois tries to bounce back from the tough loss on Sunday. And who stepped up for Seton Hall on a rare down game for Mamu? So join me and Casey Jacobson at the half. But right now, Kevin and Steve, back to you.
Villanova by 3. A little bit of a defensive breakdown here on a prior possession.
Yeah, watch against Marquette's zone defense this attack. You're going to see Swider come from behind, set a good screen. We're going to have a little on-ball screen action against the zone defense, and it gets Marquette to have 2 players on the ball. Here comes Swider, sets the good screen. Daniels comes off. Elliott goes towards the ball, and that creates just enough space for Gillespie to get the catch and shoot opportunity. And people forget, against a zone, screening can be very effective, whether it's a back screen on the backside of a zone or screening at the top of a zone. And having bigs like Swider who can shoot and are comfortable, having them in the high post as well, creates difficult matchups for zone defense.
Speaking of a difficult matchup, look at Collin Gillespie's start to the evening. 14 points, 4 triples already. He's essentially at his season average of, in terms of points. He goes for almost 15 a night. Boy, he has really grown these last couple years in particular. You know, it's funny. Villanova had to grow and went through some growing pains last year. Boy, it sure is nice when the growing pains of a season include a Big East regular season championship, which is how the year closed out for Villanova.
Yeah, the players at Villanova, because of continuity and staying old and outstanding recruiting, Caleb Daniels is an example as a transfer, but Eric Pascal, a couple years back, was another transfer from Fordham, almost utilizing free agency in the transfer portal to stay old, to have enough personnel. As we see the travel down low by Theo John, he appeared a little mystified by the call, but there's a culture now, and from year to year, the baton is passed, and these players, because of Jay Wright and the staff's ability to teach and player develop, they're inculcated with a way to play the game. And there's still freedom within their system. It's not as though they're not given the ability to utilize their talents, but they play such a cohesive brand of basketball.
Winning is in the fabric. We've got Daniels and John tangled underneath. It's a foul on Caleb Daniels.
And keep in mind, Marquette is playing well.
Yeah.
Other than the turnovers, which have cost them, they are playing, you know, toe-to-toe with the Cats.
Offensively, 52% shooting from the field. Cain with 12 points. We've seen this script before. Coming off a loss, Marquette has defeated a ranked Wisconsin and a ranked Creighton team already this season, this month. There's that hesitation again. The shot was a little wild. John battling.
Well, good resistance at the rim by Villanova as well. Carton under heavy duress on that field goal attempt.
And so I think the ruling was, yep, it was a shot clock violation because the Carton layup did not hit the rim.
And it was also blocked, if I'm not mistaken. So defense plays a part.
Villanova by 3. It's been frozen here for a few minutes. There's the deep threat, the stretch big. Swider kicks out to Moore, and he buries the triple.
Yeah, the threat of Swider's shot allows him, with that first step and creating off the bounce, to explore whether he can get a mid-range shot or to spray the ball across court, as he did on that occasion. And that's that tied together ball movement, more with some dribble penetration. The kick to Gillespie. Gillespie, one more pass. Might have been a double dribble there, but gets into the lane and then kicks it out to Moore. So ball goes from one side of the floor to the other. Purposeful use of the dribble, not wasting it or massaging it, but driving it into gaps, get to the guard one, and now you've got the math more favorable somewhere else on the court. Find the open man.
Meanwhile, Dawson Garcia misses the front end of a 1-and-1. Marquette, an excellent free throw shooting team, 0 of 6 from the stripe in the first half. Down 6. Moore again.
Just maneuvering, not in a rush, and head up, good vision, surveying the floor, seeing that his man is backed off him, so Moore says, why not? I got this game.
And Villanova is on an 8-0 run with 38 seconds left in the half. Carton and the Golden Eagles looking for a little surge. Another giveaway. That's the 9th turnover.
And good defense by Villanova there, collapsing into the lane to smother Carton.
Who's open again? Justin Moore, down and out. So Marquette gifted something here after the Moore miss. Less than 20 seconds. Trying to cut it back to either a 5 or 6 point game before the break. It's been an energetic, a fun first half. John with great position. Scores it with the run.
Yeah, good execution. High-low off that two-man game at the top of the floor. And Theo John presenting, asking for the ball. And you shall receive. Good finish for Marquette.
Collin Gillespie's hit a lot of threes. He wasn't going to hit the 75-footer. He finishes with 14 first half points to lead all scores. It's the 5th-ranked Wildcats on. Back to the Cream City in Milwaukee. Last game of the calendar year for both of these teams. It's Villanova looking to push its win streak to 6 in a row. A 6-point advantage over Marquette with Steve Lavin, Kevin Fitzgerald with you. Collin Gillespie ignited early in this one.
Yeah, Gillespie working well off that high ball screen, able to find daylight and the catch and shoot opportunity as well. Of course, Moore lightened it up, and here the change of pace, sees the opening. Nice pull-up jump shot. If you take a look at these numbers, just a terrific tandem. As always, when it comes to Villanova guards, the beat goes on.
This is kind of a great indication. It'll be Gillespie passing the torch to Justin Moore at some point. The senior and sophomore have combined for the 25. What stands out here? 9 turnovers.
Well, Steve Wojciechowski definitely is looking at the box score and the halftime numbers right here. That's the big edge for Villanova. The points off turnovers for Villanova, 10-0. And, of course, Marquette leaving points in terms of not converting from the charity stripe.
I like that little snowflake transition we had there. Happy holidays to everybody. Happy Festivus to all those observing as well.
Yeah, the creativity that's at work out of our Charlotte studios and the crew that we have, they're right up there with the Spielbergs, the George Lucases, the Fellinis, Cocteaus, Truffauts, directing, producing, graphics, really cameramen, outstanding.
Daniels misfires on the 3. I hope you have all your holiday shopping done this time of year.
And I haven't had the opportunity. With the pandemic, I've really been in my own bubble here in Charlotte.
Online shopping this year. Marquette down 6. This is Jamal Cain with another triple. And he's got 15. He leads all Golden Eagles scores.
Yeah, just a comfort level. And Villanova will adjust their defense based on what's happening through the flow of the game. So I would imagine they're going to take away Cain's airspace because he's too comfortable at this point.
That is a big boost right out of the chute in the second half. Nice footwork there on the baseline. It was Jermaine Samuels did the tiptoe and scored.
Well, how about the delivery, the surgical pass by Collin Gillespie? And that's where Marquette can step up their ball pressure as well. So Gillespie's not so comfortable window shopping and looking over the top of Marquette's defense to be able to throw those pinpointed passes.
That foul on Robinson-Earl. But how about on this side? Marquette offensively, what does it need to do more of?
Well, I think explore the interior. It doesn't mean you force it, but through dribble penetration, ball movement, looking to throw the ball inside, look to go high-low, get a piece of the paint. That was one of Buzz Williams' mantras back in the day with his Marquette teams that had great success here, but that's a good approach for basketball. Across the board at any levels, look inside first, get the defense to collapse, then kick it back out.
Collin Gillespie sliding off of the platform. And no fans. This is no fans to catch you.
That's what he does. He only knows one speed, which is all out. Fortunately landed on the fanny where he got a little cushion as opposed to his head or his hip or his elbow. Good technique there on the roll as well.
Gillespie again. His 5th triple.
Well, right off the mat. Villanova gets organized, and another look for Collin Gillespie.
17 past his season average. Every time it leaves his hands tonight from deep, it looks like it's going in. There's Theo John, and he needed the roll to get one more. Instead, 2 free throws.
Villanova foul 14.
Kobe McEwen with the interior pass in tight quarters, and John just takes his time in single coverage and tries to muscle one in. Doesn't go down, but he'll be rewarded for being aggressive by getting to the foul line.
So if you're Wojo and put your, get your coach whistle out one more time, like at halftime, would you tell a player like Theo John, hey, call for it more, because we want to keep going inside?
Oh, no doubt. Even if you get a 3 seconds in the lane call or 2, you want that aggressive mindset, and it's a collective approach. The perimeter players have to be looking inside as well and understand how to feed the post and how important angles are in delivering the ball to the bigs. And you can play inside out, even come back inside to explore those higher percentage looks. Doesn't mean you don't take 3-point shots, but take a look inside first.
The senior from Minneapolis split a pair at the line. That was actually the first free throw for Marquette. Robinson-Earl was open, and Gillespie found him.
Yeah, the threat of Gillespie's shot now, because naturally Marquette's going to extend to try and stem the bleeding, and then he takes advantage, drives, and delivers.
Garcia lost it, and Villanova can pull ahead by double figures for the first time tonight.
Good defense on that possession by Villanova as well. Gillespie down low was fronting in the post with the size disadvantage, and Villanova with the travel. Here's the drive, the turn down of the jumper by Gillespie. Almost lose the ball, regains possession, and then delivers the dime to Robinson-Earl for the easy finish.
The master man, you want to talk about tough? He's playing with a broken nose.
Yeah, almost more Halloween than Christmas. That could throw an opponent off, intimidating.
McEwen has not had many shot attempts tonight, just 3 points. Robinson-Earl went for 25 over the weekend against St. Joe's with the busted nose. He broke it against Butler last week.
Villanova scores here. Expect a timeout from Steve Wojciechowski.
Cole Swider, his first bucket, and it's the largest lead of the day. 12 points for Villanova. A 10-1 run.
Well, ball movement has been a hallmark of the Cats through the years, and around the horn, the old-fashioned way. Swider lines one up.
Here's your Christmas gift, a top 15 Big Ten battle at noon on Christmas Day. It's on Fox. You can also catch it on the Fox Sports app. Wisconsin's lone loss, by the way, to these Marquette Golden Eagles. They're 7-1, sitting 9th in the nation. And there's Villanova at 5. Its highest ranking since the championship year, 3 seasons ago. Sitting at 7-1, winners of 5 straight. What do you got on Gonzaga and Baylor? Gonzaga looks unstoppable right now.
Yeah, and a nucleus that returned. And we're seeing that trend. The teams that bring back veteran groups during this pandemic have an advantage over groups that are retooling. Take Georgetown, for example. 9 new faces on that roster. And not having the normal drum roll into a season has really hurt the Hoyas.
A valuable commodity this year, no question, is established continuity and experience. That is a good on premium, especially in college hoops.
Yeah, with the interruptions, the disruptions, less time together on the floor. If you've played together as a group, or your major pieces have been at those respective programs for 2, 3, 4 years, what an edge.
Marquette down 12. Garcia open. Dawson Garcia got it back to single digits.
Yeah, so important, and it gets it inside of 10 points, and psychologically on your home court gives you some hope, a little bit of fuel. Zone defense by Marquette.
Gillespie from long range again.
They've got to run him off, chase him off that three-point line. Have shooter awareness, whether it's man or zone, whatever defense you're in. You have to lean on and lean towards and be there mentally before you get there physically in terms of driving that shooter off the three-point line. And Gillespie rotating to pick up that charge. He's doing everything. Everywhere. It's like Santa Claus. He's busy making things happen. Garcia, 6'11". Look at the pronation in the wrist, holding it out. And Gillespie says, string music.
Big East basketball is sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. Jeep, there's only one. Collin Gillespie with 6 threes, 20 points. He's got the Wildcats ahead by 12. Let's visit with St. Lav, who's on your nice list this year.
Yeah, it's been a busy month here in Charlotte between the broadcasting and being in the Charlotte bubble, but also putting together Santa's Big East nice list. We won't get into naughty. You know, Mamu is at 6'11", the most versatile player in terms of front line with his size in the country. And Jeremiah Robinson-Earl, arguably the most intelligent, the thinking man, frontline player. And Bouknight lights out. I mean, look at the numbers, but also 40 points in his most recent outing, a tough overtime loss to Creighton. So I look a little pasty there, but I need a hat that fits a little better. But with the big cranium, the big noggin, it's tough to find to get the right size for a Santa cap.
Well, yeah, I think you're too hard on yourself, but it sounds like one thing you don't have to remember to pack when you exit Charlotte is the sunblock. Did you do a
very pasty, very pasty looking?
Did you do a Burl Ives earlier? That happened, right?
Yep. I mean, think about the great, right? Frosty the Snowman, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, a Charlie Brown Christmas. Those are just a few of my favorites. Dr. Seuss. I mean, you can't go wrong with the rhymes. And, of course, the Grinch. You always need the good guy, bad guy, good cop, bad cop.
Swider misfires from 3. Marquette needs a run.
Burl Ives' Christmas Carol, as good as it gets.
All right, well, the foul, by the way, that is foul on Slater. All right, so if National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation and It's a Wonderful Life are both on, which one are you watching? We're going to learn a little bit about Steve Lavin.
Boy.
Yeah, I gave you a tough
Let me
one.
get back to you at the TV timeout to think about that one. I have to ponder it. Siskel and Ebert.
Marquette struggling to shoot in the second half, and John's look is off.
Well, and Villanova will do that to you. Give their defense credit because of their multiple looks defensively in terms of how they guard the post, switching from man to zone, some three-quarter court press as well.
Daniels would not be denied.
I like his stoutness. You know, he stays low to the ground, built like a Mack truck, and has his feet under him. And there you saw him get the second effort off his initial miss for the putback.
He's number 14 in the Navy, the transfer from Tulane when Mike Dunleavy was let go after the 2019 season. Daniels asked him, he said, what about Villanova? Remember, Mike's son, Baker, was an assistant for so many years. Of course, now the head coach at Quinnipiac. And Mike made a call to Jay. He was telling us and said, Jay, this is the type of player that fits in your system.
Well, and it's not a difficult argument to build when you're having the degree of success as Villanova has through the years, and in terms of sending players on to the NBA. So the track record is there.
Wow, the catch and the score for Dexter Acano. His first minutes, and he banks it in. Pressure from Marquette, back within 13.
I like the choice here. Try and mix it up. When you're facing a buzzsaw that's in rhythm, this full-court pressure, looking for a spark, something to serve as a catalyst, and get your players in a more aggressive mindset, on their toes.
Wojciechowski going deep down the bench. He's got Acano, Iguodaro, and Torrance in. And the whistle on the baseline. Foul on Elliott.
Now Samuels with the drive extended the forearm a bit, but Elliott not in good position to be able to absorb or draw the charge. Dangerous looping lob pass to the backcourt. Slider comes up with it.
Garcia challenged, just out of his reach. This is Justin Moore. Nope, that's short. Here comes Samir Torrance, the Syracuse, New York native.
Torrance missed a few games, so rounding back into form, trying to find his rhythm, but he extends the Marquette bench some when he's at full strength.
Drive and kick. Getting late in the shot clock. Just suffocating defense for the Wildcats. Elliott, wild shot. It feels like to hang with this iteration of Villanova basketball, you can't be a sprinter. You have to be a marathon runner. The way this team plays and the way it can beat you in a variety of ways. Justin Moore once again, he's got 13.
Well, they're so effective at maneuvering, getting to the basket, and then with their feet under them and the broad shoulders, they play bigger and finish like post players do, but they're guards. And that's worked on every day in terms of being strong in the basket area, strong with the ball. See Wojciechowski after the score trying to employ his Marquette Golden Eagles to full court press, pick up. String of stops or shutouts is the key if you're Marquette.
It has to, because Villanova is now 9 of 13 from the field in the second half. Daniels with another 3.
And just ripping the cords. I mean, didn't touch the rim. Bottom of the nets only.
Villanova led by 6 at the break. Its lead has ballooned to 16 and counting. Robinson-Earl.
And Robinson-Earl with textbook technique in terms of wing deny. Have that arm extended like a windshield wiper as Villanova on a run. Now 18-0 edge in points off turnovers, and that was yet just one more example. Robinson-Earl with a breakaway, the goggles to boot, throws one home. Timeout.
$18-point lead. Coach, what's the difference?
Well, the points off turnovers, 18-0 advantage for Villanova in that category. And this is how Villanova deliberately, methodically dismantles opponents. And there's still time for Marquette to come back in this game. But through the years, Villanova just doesn't make mistakes. It's almost like a great pitcher of Maddox in baseball that doesn't put people on base in terms of balls and strikes and is precise. And they also don't swing at bad pitches. Offensively, they get good looks at the basket on the majority of their possessions. Therefore, shooting high percentage or getting themselves to the foul line. And equally as important, it sets their defense. They're so difficult to get runouts against.
So far, the early returns look pretty good. Dana O'Neill, who covers this program better than just about everybody, posed a really interesting question before the season. Competing for a Big East title, making the tournament, those are foregone conclusions, but can this team win it all without Saddiq Bey? Of course, taken in the first round last month, and 7-1. Things are rolling right now for Villanova. I would say they probably can, based on the early indications.
And here's why. In the NCAA tournament, it's the teams that can impose their preferred style that have the advantage. And you have to have good personnel, or you wouldn't be having the type of seasons Villanova does year to year through the decades. But whether you want to play fast, like a Rick Pitino, and speed people up and impose that preferred tempo, or you want to play slow, like Bo Ryan's teams, now Greg Gard at Wisconsin, Princeton under Pete Carrill, and Bill Carmody through the years, and Villanova. They'll run when they have opportunities, but they can impose their preferred tempo, dictate tempo as well as anybody in the country.
Kewen was trying to get that right leg kicked out, maybe to get the call. Marquette held a lead for the early portions of this game, fell behind by 6 at the break. Now down 18. Gillespie just lulling Carton to sleep.
Well, and that's an aspect of Villanova's offense that everyone has an opportunity to do. Using that back down dribble, if no one helps in single coverage, you go to work and make a play. If a team does rotate and double, now you kick it out, you find the favorable match somewhere else on the floor, which means someone that has an open shot. And that is very NBA flavor that Villanova plays with.
I'll say that's a blocking foul on Samuels. 22 points for Gillespie. 7 of 11 from the field, 6 of 9 from deep, 3 assists, no turnovers. Efficient. I don't know if there's a better example of it.
And what makes it so difficult to guard Villanova is everyone on the floor can shoot the ball. So if you have Gillespie backing someone down the paint and you've got 4 players in the perimeter that can all knock down threes, it's a pick your poison situation for opponents.
Nova has assisted on 13 of its 24 makes. There's been excellent ball movement, shot selection. And then you got to make them too. John off the window.
Yes, so comfortable on his catches. Theo John in single coverage with the left and the right hand. That jump hook, whether he uses the glass or not, the more touches he gets, the better. Again, doesn't mean he has to force it, but play through him inside out, force teams to collapse, put them in foul-prone situations, as Villanova does on this possession.
Lewis fouls Brandon Slater. The fact is, with 9:07 left, there's still a chance for a Marquette run, but it's got to be a great spark, and it has to happen sooner rather than later.
Well, and Marquette's been a resilient team this season. We've seen them fight back, show grit, get back in games where it looked like they might be down for the count and win games, and doing so. They've lost some heartbreakers as well, but they're growing with each game, and a lot of new pieces for this Marquette team that they're trying to blend in and develop a new identity. Not easy to do.
It's a great illustration that you bring up. Marquette returned about 35% of its scoring from a year ago. Gone is Marcus Howard. Oh boy, Carton turned it over in the backcourt. Mike Roberts went flying. He got out of the way, and the turnover, that's a killer. But gone is Marcus Howard, Sakar Adam. Meanwhile, Villanova, outside of Sadiq Bey, it literally brings back every other point scored from a year ago. And you add in Caleb Daniels.
And we've seen that in professional sports. When a franchise is able to keep their players for a period of time, that's when you build a dynasty. That continuity is a big aspect of success. And don't forget about Bailey as well, who moved on from Marquette to pursue professional basketball some level. He was an important piece as well to last year's success.
Villanova by 20. Nearly 23. Gillespie's 3 offline to the left. Foul on the interior.
Villanova foul number 5, Justin Moore.
Jay Wright's Wildcats looking sharp. His 600th career win last week against Butler. You know, Villanova, of course, was a basketball power. We all know the story by now. He just elevated it, though, over the last half-decade or so. 2 national titles. Foul on the Torrance drive.
But what impresses me about Jay Wright, and there are a number of elements, traits, attributes that he possesses as a coach, but one of them is his flexibility in thinking. He's interested. He's always learning. He's adding new wrinkles, and he's not set in his ways. There are certain tenets of Villanova basketball. They're going to play defense. They're going to play together. They're going to get good shots. They're going to take care of the basketball. But he shows a openness to learning and trying new things, and that keeps him ahead of the curve, and he's on top of the new trends, both on how to defend, but also offensively how to take advantage of the personnel he has.
How much fun were Big East coach meetings, by the way? You, Jay Wright.
Incredible.
Yeah. Well, my whole cast of characters,
My
right?
first 3 years was the Big East before realignment. So you had Jim Boeheim, Rick Pitino, Jim Calhoun. And, you know, now it's a younger Big East. Jay Wright is now one of the old guys. But when I first got in the league, he was one of the young guys. What happened? He got old. We all do. That's why I look like Santa Claus, pasty. I need a new hat or cap. Time out.
They're the top dog in both the NFC and AFC. I like the expanded playoff format. Look at the score at half. Villanova led by 6. It has more than tripled that lead now. Or tripled that lead, pardon me. In summary, an 18-point lead. The Wildcats, they just have gotten better as the game has gone along.
Well, remember, they had a couple losses earlier this season, but they've improved dramatically from those defeats.
How so? What have you seen?
Well, defensively, more solid, and just a better sense for one another in terms of the integration of Caleb Daniels and his confidence. He appears as a player that's been at Villanova for a couple years, as opposed to a first-year player that transferred from Tulane. So impressed with the seamless transition of his play.
Cole Swider with that smothering block a moment ago. Yeah, high percentage look here. While he hasn't shot well from the field today, he has made a nice impact, I should say, on the defensive side. 20-point lead again.
And that was an example of Villanova in that possession, dribble driving and using the 2-foot jump stop to create a good shot. And if we get a chance to take a look at it, this is something that's emphasized. All coaches want their players to 2-foot jump stop, but some teams do it better because of the reps in practice. And look at Daniels, the change of direction, the sit-down jump stop, 2 feet. Now Swider, 1 bounce, 2-foot jump stop, keeps the ball high, puts it down off the glass. So using your body as a shield, almost like a tortoise with a shell, to protect the ball. With the turtle, obviously he protects its head. But with basketball players, you get in traffic, you want your back and shoulders to be a shield or a shell to protect that ball from defenders. And it's something Villanova does exceptionally well. They're not the only team, but they do it as well as any team in the country.
Moore leaves it short. I'm adding the tortoise analogy to the Steve Lavin hoop vernacular.
Well, just a little bit of that Nature Channel or Animal Planet flavor that we're bringing to the broadcast. You have to be creative in the way you teach your players through different film, outside speakers that come into your program. They don't want to hear one voice the whole season, and you've got to get creative, whether it's using parallels or analogies or film from different levels of basketball. And that's an intelligent approach. You've got to create a curriculum that engages 18 to 22-year-olds. Not easy to do, especially competing against social media. In this day and age, coaches have their hands full.
Oh, goodness.
Imagine how boring a coach might be in front of, you know, the team before a game or halftime or after a game, after kids have been on the phone, you know, downloading who knows what.
Well, Villanova has been a handful for Marquette today, plain and simple. This Golden Eagles team has knocked off 2 top 10 rated teams. It's got the potential, or top ranked, I should say. It's got the potential. It's got the skill. 10 games in, putting it together still, down 19. It's been the Collin Gillespie show at times today. The unflappable senior leader of this Villanova team. Coach, you were naming off some of the great guards that have run through the program during Jay Wright's 2 decades as the head man. A few years ago, as Ryan Arcidiacono leading the Wildcats to a national title. A couple of years ago, Jalen Brunson and Dante DiVincenzo's Inferno through the Final Four to a national championship 2 years ago. As Collin Gillespie, he looks like he could be that guard to do it again this year. Do you agree?
No doubt. When you look at the pieces, they complement one another. Daniels It's an outstanding pickup. We take a look at him try and create an angle. He doesn't get it, but the
Robinson-Earl, get out of his way.
well, look at the judgment off the bounce. You know, Daniels again almost loses the ball, but then comes to that jump stop. A little sit down there, and then like an option quarterback, you can make your reads. He delivers the dime to Robinson-Earl, who plays over the top for the jam. But just going back to your question, I do think with Daniels and the returning nucleus and the cohesiveness, the pieces complement one another. And to use another analogy, like musicians, this team just plays great basketball. There's Swider with the swipe at the ball, just alertness there to force the turnover.
Here he is, he's got it. Drive, kick, Daniels. Foul on Samuels over the back. Well, and I almost prefaced my question with a spotlight. You got to look into the month of February. That is when we'll get the first Villanova-Creighton battle. Or the Blue Jays, are they the toughest challenge for this team right now?
You know, I think Villanova, not to count anyone out at this stage of the season, it's so early, and with all the uncertainty, the imbalance in the schedule potentially, even though February there's room to make up games, the hope is to have, you know, a balanced schedule, at least as much as possible. But it's early. But I would say Villanova right now, this is their 6th game where they've been, you know, throttling teams, dismantling teams, separating from the pack in their performance. And the analytics or numbers are bearing that out, as well as the optics, just what we're seeing in their play this evening. I gave them 2 losses earlier on the broadcast. I want to apologize. There was only 1 loss this year, but they learned from it and have improved since that loss. They've gone on a run.
It's been a chaotic year for everybody, but let's rewind to that trip to Mohegan Sun and the bubble up in Connecticut. So the loss you reference is an overtime loss to a now-ranked Virginia Tech team. That matchup came to be like 36 hours before they tipped it off. A 4-day initially planned stay in Connecticut turned into 8 days, 2 more games. Remember, we lost the Villanova-Virginia matchup that was supposed to be a few days ago.
Yeah, and Jay Wright said he learned from that loss. He felt he didn't go deep enough in his bench as we take a look at this 5-game.
That says it all.
And just the ability to put teams away and salt victories away. They don't tend to lose interest or concentration. And that's the mental conditioning. We know about physical conditioning, but tied to the physical conditioning is the mental conditioning, which is so important in basketball, probably 3 times as important as the physical.
Brandon Slater cans the 3. There's a whole bunch of those players on this roster. Theo John, senior, turns strong.
Imagine if this team, the nucleus returns with the NCAA the ruling and allowing teams 1 more year, or athletes 1 more year of eligibility, which was a great decision.
Villanova slowly built upon its 6-point halftime lead. Slowly but surely, up by more than 20. Now it's 23 after the masked man Jeremiah Robinson-Earl scores it.
Well, Robinson-Earl, one of those players that doesn't have to score to influence the game in a positive manner, both offensively and defensively, and that's his basketball intellect there, drawing the charge. Case in point, he just understands and processes at a different level. What an asset for Jay Wright to have on his team.
Up to ball, Western Illinois coming up right after us. It is a 23-point lead for Villanova. The Wildcats are poised to win their 6th straight and get to 8-1. So coming up next, is January. Their next game, I should say, is at Xavier on January 2nd. Now, Steve, there was a game scheduled initially for December 30th. That was a game against St. John's. Both Jay and Mike Anderson and both programs mutually agreed to postpone that game. And Jay was documenting this to us during the week. He was planning for a while now to figure out what to do with Christmas. Of course, such a mental and physical drain on these players to make these games go. Jay wanted his players to go home for Christmas. Of course, kind of changed up the line of thinking out of an abundance of caution to minimize the risk of anybody contracting the virus due to travel. So he is bringing the families of the players to campus. They're all going to get tested before kind of entering the campus bubble. The players will have 3 days to spend with their families and their parents. And right after they leave on the 27th, there's going to be a few days, of course, of testing and isolating. Jay Wright could not have been beaming with more appreciation for the person who kind of runs the everything in terms of testing and protocols. Dr. Mike Duncan, the entire nursing staff that's there, plus Arlisha Davidson and Dwayne Anderson on the support staff who have been instrumental in making this happen.
Yeah, and it takes a team when facing unique, unprecedented circumstances, having personnel, a support group with the expertise from the doctors. A big shout out to the Nova nurses from Jay Wright as well. As
Carton for three.
See Carton dial one up from distance. And Dr. Duncan, as you mentioned, Arlisha has been running things at Villanova. She's the real head coach of the program. Everyone that's close to the Wildcats knows that the keys to the kingdom are in Arlisha's hands. And a great spirit, a generous spirit. She's almost the mother of the Villanova basketball family in terms of someone the players can lean on. And the families call her to check in on their youngsters, on the young men playing for Jay Wright. And that's important.
You know, in this year of uncertainty or unpredictability, right? You have to be creative and innovative, and you've got to kind of make some MacGyver moves, and that was a good idea. Well, I'd like to send the players home, give them the break, but let's do this instead. Let's bring them, let's test, and do it the right way. That might be, I think that's the only set of Christmas decorations inside this place. So Chevy Chase has not been through it by Forum yet.
You know, potential wiring issue there, because it looks as though it was connected to a printer. If I'm not mistaken, we'll have to get a closer look at that. Could be a fire hazard.
That is the most festive engineer in the country, whoever is setting that up. Nice look inside of Lewis.
They were bright lights, too. They weren't just your traditional plain Christmas lights. They had an extra kind of sparkle to them.
Carton dials it up. That three is good. So DJ Carton, the sophomore who was going to be the galvanizing point guard for Marquette this season, struggled at times today and didn't look for a shot too often. Oh, that one is good, and the foul. Brandon Slater, the junior from Virginia, has one more.
Well, attacking that pressure, able to split defenders, and a little scoop shot, kisses it off the window, a little smooch to boot. You know, if you're Marquette, these issues in terms of turnovers in their losses this year, turnovers have been the glaring deficiency that's cost them. But they're correctable errors. So the good news is you can clip the film, get back on the floor after analyzing where the turnovers are happening, and then remedy that issue so you don't face the kind of uphill battle because of their own miscues or mistakes.
This also the final game of the calendar year for Marquette. And it begins its January slate on the road at Georgetown against UConn, and then a quick rematch against Villanova on the 8th.
Well, and the key to conference play is you've got to look back long enough to learn in terms of, watching some game film, but then you need to flush it. Put it in the rearview mirror, have amnesia, and move forward, because you don't want one loss to become two to become 5, because you're deflated. You've just got to get ready for the next one and put your fuel and energy from a psychic standpoint towards the upcoming game. But you do need to improve upon the areas that are costing you games.
And Marquette has proven that, too. The wins against 4th-ranked Wisconsin and on the road against 9th-ranked at the time Creighton followed losses immediately.
In their losses, they're averaging 17 turnovers in those games. And in their wins, only 12 turnovers. And that may not seem like a big difference, but in tightly contested games, it is the difference.
Cano has one more coming, a strong drive.
Good job. +1 from our house.
Way to finish that. Way to finish. 1.
Villanova by 17. Remember, DePaul plays its first game right after this one, so keep it locked on FS1. It's Western Illinois and DePaul. Chris Foster's, Nick Baugh have that game for you coming up.
Marquette foul 33. Dawson Garcia, 4th personal, 10th team foul.
Their wait to play is over. You're staying in the Charlotte bubble.
Yeah, reindeer up. It's not wheels up. It's reindeer up as we get back to California. Look forward to seeing Mike Hill and Casey and Rob Stone, Jimmy Jackson and the gang. It's been a great month in Charlotte. The people here have been first class and hospitable, but a bit of a Groundhog Day, being at the Outpost for 30 days in a hotel. And I am looking forward to getting back to California, being part of the team out west. But it's been a joy getting to know you and to work with you and our guys on the crew.
Well, likewise. Nice of you to say, but you're right. And of course, this season, it's the 3 from Elliott. We're at our remote studios in Charlotte. So Marquette with some fight towards the end of this one. Villanova north of 80 points again. And you said it. They have scored, or have won, I should say, in lopsided fashion. 80-plus now in 3 straight. This is going to be their 4th straight win by double digits, save for a Marquette barrage.
And Cap just,
oh my, look at the difference.
That's 18-3. I mean, there it is. And that's, in a way, good news. You don't want to lose games. There's no moral victories. But when your issues are correctable errors, if you're a team that can't shoot the ball, that's tough. Then the whole season, you're probably not going to improve dramatically in your shooting. If you don't have good foot speed or quickness or depth, you can't get better over the course of the season. But these turnovers Marquette is having, when they analyze them, they're going to see it comes back to judgments, passing and catching, understanding angles when delivering the ball, jump stopping, gathering your feet, because they are correctable miscues or errors. And that's a good thing. They'll get better. I like their personnel. And Steve Wojciechowski has put together a strong roster. When they're at full strength, now that Torrance is back in the mix, they're going to be a handful.
Lewis picks up the loose basketball and scores. It has been an extremely challenging month, scheduling-wise, for Marquette, a chaotic month. Speaking of chaos and problem-solving, did you do your New York Times crossword puzzle today?
I didn't get around to it.
Well, on the plane tomorrow.
I will. Online. You have to love the challenge, the riddle that is coaching, or as you said, the crossword puzzle that is coaching today.
Well, you and Jay Wright were talking about that this week. It really is. Everybody has to be on their toes and ready to adjust in this unpredictable season.
Yeah, and keep in mind that coaches, athletes are creatures of habit. And so routine is very important. The drum roll going into a game, shoot-arounds, the hotel, the bus rides, your film work. And during a pandemic, there is no routine. And so that's unnerving. But coaches have to set the example in terms of stewardship and being a steady hand as a leader. And that's what helps the young people navigate forward.
You saw those Slater free throws, a team effort. Villanova, 5 different players in double figures today, led by Collin Gillespie. 22 points on 7 of 13 shooting. He canned 6 triples. And Jay Wright's Wildcats have won 6 in a row, the last 4 by double digits.
Frosty the Snowman. I know you wanted a little Burl Ives. The Christmas carols. Doesn't get any better. Merry Christmas.
Come for the hoops. Stay for Lavin's impression of Ives. Enjoyed it. For Steve, I'm Kevin. Marquette. Villanova wins. To the studio after the break.